Itaewon crush, how South Korea let down its young people. It is such a small, insignificant space, running perhaps 60 meters 197 feet down the hill, and narrowing to just 3.5 meters wide near the bottom. It is too narrow to be lit by the morning sun. The alley doesn't even have a name. Were it not for the single strip of orange tape, and the two police officers standing guard, you would pass it without a glance. On one side is the high, featureless wall of the Hamilton Hotel rising 10 stories. On the other, a cluster of small shops. A green sign marks Milano Collection, a fashion store. 81-year-old Nam In-sok has run for the past 11 years. He witnessed the horrific event on the night of 29 October, when the little alley became a death trap. Already at 1900 hours I thought it was too crowded, and I was worried. It was very uncomfortable for the people walking, and the entrance to my shop was completely blocked. People were lining up for a restaurant, and at the same time more people were trying to come up from the main street. At around 21:50, as I opened the door of my shop, two young women fell in. They had no shoes on, and they were covered with dirt and bruises. I hugged them to help them calm down. I could hear people outside screaming, "Help me." I thought they might be fighting. I went outside and saw people piling up on top of each other. People were screaming for help, and I tried to pull them out, but I couldn't. All those young people, they couldn't breathe, and they were completely exhausted. Mr. Nam is haunted by what he saw that night. He stayed out trying to help the victims until 400 hours. I helped them clean up after the incident. There were so many things left on the street, such as shoes and bags. The police asked me to help collect the bags and clothes, so I did so. How could I go to sleep? I couldn't. At the peak of the crush, a little after 2200 hours, a video captured a single police officer struggling to disperse revelers from the top of the alley, who were unaware of the tragedy unfolding downhill. "Please move, people are dying," he kept shouting, clearly distressed. An assistant inspector in Seoul, Kim Baek-gyeom, was on duty that night and has received a lot of praise for his efforts. But his own account of how he got to the scene is revealing. The Itaewon police station is only a few hundred meters from the alley, yet he stayed there until the fatal crush took place. When he was finally called out, it was to investigate what he had been told was a possible fight. He had no idea until he got there that people were dying. By that time the police had already received 11 panicked calls, the first at 1834, alerting them to dangerous levels of overcrowding. The public perception that one of Asia's most visible and efficient police forces did nothing to prevent this tragedy has shaken South Korea. Each day the numbers of people coming to add their bouquets to the huge mound of white flowers near the alley have grown. One woman screamed abuse at a police officer until she was pulled back by others, explaining that it was not this individual's fault. President Yoon Suk-yeol has responded by setting up a special investigation team, but South Koreans have good reasons for being skeptical about whether the authorities will get to the bottom of what caused the deadly crush. South Korea experienced one of its worst peacetime disasters in 2014, when a ferry carrying 325 students from Daewon High School in Ansan, an industrial town about an hour south of Seoul, capsized. Some 250 of the teenagers died, along with 11 of their teachers and 43 others. It later transpired that the ferry had been illegally altered and was overloaded with cargo that was not properly secured. The captain was sentenced to life in prison for murder, and many others prosecuted.